Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Writers Mindscape. Stop with that stupid pun.
It's going to be amazing.
No.
It's going to be a thing one day.
No, it's not.
Just like support us.
One of these days, I'm just going to cut your head off and just have the Tim show. And actually
My
talk about...
spirit will still invade the recording and go, scape.
No, it won't.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna
totally.
I'll have everything blessed.
Anyway.
Today we are moving on from the people's part of the peoples and customs topic onto customs.
Yes.
And
Yes, we are.
today we're going to be talking about customs and traditions.
Yes.
And what's the difference between them?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of difference.
There is a difference, and they can kind of be...
They can work together.
Not just work together, but sometimes they can be interchangeable for words, but there is an actual difference between the two.
Right.
Adam, what do you think of when you hear the word customs as when it comes to cultures and all that stuff?
For me, anyways, it is the ceremony of interaction with people.
Okay.
So, like, here, shake hands, that's a custom.
Yep.
You shake hands with somebody when you meet them.
Yes.
It's a tradition, though, that you hug your close friends.
See, I would say something different about that.
What would you say?
See, I agree with the custom.
Controversy already.
Tradition is something, basically, is when a custom has been going on for so long.
That you don't even notice it anymore.
You don't even notice it anymore. This is what you do.
Yeah.
And you say, if the question is, why do we do that? It's tradition.
Yeah.
Basically, the word comes down to...
Why do we celebrate these holidays?
Tradition.
Tradition.
We know they don't exist. The reason why didn't happen. Tradition.
Yeah. Whatever.
So
we do this.
And tradition doesn't necessarily mean to a holiday.
No.
It could be anything.
Why is the Harvest Fest celebrated at this time? We don't live in a harvest community.
No.
They're like, well, we used to.
And
200 years ago.
Yeah, and apparently 200 years is not enough time to get rid of that.
Yeah. And at this point, it's a party, okay?
Yeah.
We party.
So, the other things that you can do, think about it this way. Why do we have a graduation ceremony?
Yeah.
Why do they have to wear robes?
Because that's the custom.
Why do you have to wear dress pants under them and not shorts when it's 150 degrees outside in Arizona?
Look, we for graduation, we just got told you can just wear the robes. There was no dress code for what you wore underneath it.
Oh, you got lucky. When I graduated from high school,
yeah,
we were told you have to wear dress pants underneath there. They will check, and if you do not have them, you will not walk.
The funniest part is you could just wear like fake ones where it's just the bottom half. And not actually wear any pants, and they'd be like, "Well, pull that up. You really want to see my balls?"
Yeah, no.
I mean, okay. And they're like, "Whoa, come on!"
So, but yeah,
support us.
Yeah,
brings new meaning to support us.
Yes, but that's what it comes down to. So when it comes down to your people and the culture you're going to be crafting for your groups of people, is you got to keep that in mind. What are their current customs?
Yeah. What's the traditions that they've been holding on to forever?
Yeah. What are the traditions are you have to do this versus the traditions that it's a tradition, but it's kind of to the point where
it's like,
it's okay if you don't celebrate. You may be frowned upon if you don't, but you're not going to really be ostracized if you don't follow it.
They're not going to be burning you in the town square the next morning.
Think of it this way, and I mean, this can be a little tricky, but think of it this way. We used to have a time where if you didn't go to church,
yes,
you were looked down upon. People would not even want to interact with you.
Yep.
You see more of that in cults nowadays. If you leave the cult, those people will have nothing to do with you.
Yes.
Because you turned your back on...
They'll tell your family to have nothing to do with you, too.
Yep. Your own family, if it's just one person, your whole family will stop interacting with you because you've turned your back on the people.
But how far... What kind of traditions does your society have? Is it something that you're basing it upon a religious... I mean, once again... Go through history.
Yeah.
Just go through history. There are thousands upon thousands of traditions and like customs, different interactions with people that you can pick and choose, combine, meld, change, whatever you want to. Be inspired by history.
Yes.
Sorry,
really because,
I went a little crazy on that.
But no, it's a good example because the thing is, you gotta look at as people, cultures evolve.
Right.
They change. As beliefs, or in some cases, as science becomes more prevalent over supernatural, depending on if you actually do have supernatural.
I mean, it could be the opposite, that supernatural supersedes science suddenly.
Yeah. It'll change how people live.
Right.
And how the culture's looked upon. So, and also not all customs become traditions, because eventually the custom can die off.
Right.
Because it's like, just people stop doing it.
You know, tipping your hat to a lady.
Yes.
We don't do that anymore.
No.
And quite honestly, I look at people and go, why are you wearing a hat that big that you have to tip it?
Yeah. Or just people wear hats. These outside ball caps.
Yeah.
These days. But it really comes down to that. Little things. Men holding the door for ladies.
Yes.
Another thing. Was a custom.
Right.
It was expected the thing to do. A scoundrel would be the one who wouldn't do that.
Yes.
Or would just open the door themselves and walk in and let us hit them.
Not hold it open for those tiny ladies who have incredibly weak arms and lack the ability to open doors themselves.
Exactly. How culture is progressing and people changing their viewpoints on things.
Right.
It comes down to a bigger thing, but customs are always constantly changing.
Yeah.
And traditions that you thought would be around forever,
they die off too.
They die off because
new ones replace them.
Exactly. So it really comes down to what it is. I mean, look at it this way. Black Friday is a perfect example of a new, not just custom, but now
it's a new tradition.
Because it's been going on where you go, not even on Friday anymore, but after Thanksgiving on Thursday.
Okay, that's getting ridiculous.
Oh, trust me, I know. But
even though I do like the opening up at like 10 p.m. on Thursday night, because I'm a night owl, and I'm like, well, you know what? I'll be up at 2, and I'll just do some shopping then. And there's no one around. I'm like, oh, this is so beautiful.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Like, it's a new tradition that you do this.
Yes.
It's a dumb tradition, in my opinion.
It's sometimes you can have traditions that are purely based upon greed.
Oh, yeah. I mean, a lot
Black
of traditions.
Friday.
A lot of traditions throughout history are based on greed or some other cardinal sin or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, you can also have, a tradition of the Harvest Fest.
Yes.
Where you're like, we don't live in a society that harvests things anymore. No, but we do like to have a party.
Yes.
And we're going to have one.
Yeah. So it really comes down to those. So when you're going through your people that you've created, your races, spend time on this. You don't need to be making thousands upon thousands, backdating all the traditions.
You don't need to go so far as to be Tolkien.
No. I mean, if you're going to be doing that, if you are going to be creating one world, and this is where all your stories are going to be told in throughout,
yeah,
great, you can do that. But here's the thing: do it slowly. You don't have to be spending 40 years on your world before you actually write the first book.
Yeah, no. Explore both. Explore your story, but at the same time, explore the society that's around it as well.
Exactly, and if you do feel like you need to have some stuff that is really well thought out, like you want to have some customs and traditions that are really established and really well known for every culture,
it's
fine.
For me, one of the greatest things of both film and written word, when you have traditions and customs, it makes the world seem more lived in.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, oh, there are rules beyond just this character.
Yeah, and if you're going to do it for the multiple cultures, do it as you need it for your story.
Right.
Like if you have some you want to cause conflict, use a tradition and think back. You don't even need to know the real reason why this tradition became or why they did it. Use the reason of it's a tradition, or this is the reason and it's not the real reason.
Yes.
Or it's one of those reasons that people use to justify it because it's hard to argue within that culture. Figure that out. If you want to know the real reason, figure it out when you need to.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Or if you get it, one day it comes to you like, oh, that works. Because one of the best things with over time, even if you establish something in one story that this is the reason why, and that was originally going to be the reason why, and then you realize to come up with a better reason, and you're like, oh, I've already established everything that flows this way. Guess what? You can still have that reason, and it can still make perfect sense because traditions still alter over time.
Oh yeah.
For that. So just think about that and just kind of take some time and figure that out. For that. Adam, anything you want to add to this?
Oh yeah, I still have stuff to talk about customs.
Oh, okay, good.
You know, because one of the things that you'll have within a society is you have kind of two customs. You have the customs of the everyday person, kind of the poor. You know, it's the way they socially interact.
Yep.
And then you have high society and the way that they... And then you will sometimes have a third.
Yeah.
And it's how the peasants interact with the lords.
Yes.
And it's like, okay, you know, peasants are meant to act this way in front of a lord. But when they're at home, they act this other way.
Yep.
They have their own hierarchy. And... I mean, that also gets into, do you have a class system? If
Yes.
you do, what's the customs of that system? That's why I said early on that customs to me were the rules of social interaction.
Yes.
Because the more, I mean, going through our history, the more there is a class system, the more you see of these customs. It's like, okay, well, the king interacts this way.
Yep.
You know, his subjects interact this way with him, and then the peasants interact this way with him, which is mostly waving from a very far distance.
Yep. And we'll go more into interaction between classes when we get to society itself.
Oh, yeah.
But that is something you need to think about as well. How customs work with that. And not just that, how do customs work within the difference between races
Yes.
and other people's cultures? Because that's going to be...
Sometimes one society bows to you, the other one shakes a hand, and you're like, and they look at the other one as weakness.
Or not just that, active aggression.
Yes.
How dare you look down upon me?
Yeah.
You bow by bowing.
How dare you not face me?
How dare you thrust your hand out towards me?
Yeah.
So it's different. Those different things for that. I think that's all I have.
That's all you've got?
Yeah.
I mean, that's about it.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, let us know what you thought down below in the comment section. Since you made it to the end of this podcast, please give us a thumbs up.
Ding.
Yep. And be sure to subscribe.
Yes.
Hit that bell.
Ding.
Ding.
Ding, ding.
Ding, ding.
Okay.
Ding.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yep.
Ding, ding. Ding, ding, ding. Sorry.
Enjoy the Notification Squad.
Yes.
Or what was the tagline this week?
It's support us.
Yeah, I don't like it.
I'm really enjoying that one.
No.
Slightly better than become one of us.
No, I don't like that one either.
Right.
Anyway, join the Notification Squad. And Adam,
What?
anything that you want to say as you sign off?
Stay cool, San Diego.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you in our next podcast.